So welcome everybody to part 11, I think we're on now, of our playlist of how to build a browser game using Laravel. And up to now, if you've been following along, you'll know that the game we're looking to copy is one called Deuteros, which is, as you can see, something I've been searching in my Google history. Let me bring up, this is the site we've been working on, which at the minute we haven't done anything with the front end. But I also have a bookmark to some reference stuff that we've been using for the seeding. So now that we've brought this in, I've managed to get the whole columns. And in actual fact, the only thing we missed off when we were going through this last time was this silica. But when I did the seeder, after I did the last one, because it was like a huge amount of data I was seeding, I managed to find that and I managed to put the silica in. So just to show you in the Deuteros table. So remember the last video we were seeding which planets get which resources, and it was based on this chart. So there's the planets and moons down the left, and there's the materials along the top, and where it's green, that planet has the resource. But as you can imagine, there was loads of planets and moons I had to go through, and it took absolutely ages to do. So I did that off camera after a record. I just did one or two just to get the functionality in place, and that was here. So we'd already had these bodies section, but what we added was these resources sections. So it wasn't that difficult to do, really. We didn't have to do the recursion again, because the functionality, it was already doing the recursion into the planets and the moons. So all we had to do was put in an extra bit of code in the seeder, and it was pretty easy to do. The problem was just how long it took me to put the data in. So long. But anyway, it's done now. So I think it was, assign resources to bodies. So it was basically in the recurse function, it was just this bit here we had to do. Job done. So anyway, that's that done. So now we can move on to the next part of our development. We can come away from the seeding now. And in this video, we're going to look at the user flow, the user process, and start at the beginning and work our way through for the player to register and join and play the game. And we'll see how much we can cover in this video. So let's get started. Okay, very good. So what I'm thinking is, one thing I wanted to note actually before we go into the actual process. You may remember in the odd video I do discuss the sort of starting process, as in, is everybody going to start on the same planet? Is there going to be different races like humans, methanoids, and so on? And one thing I noted as I was going through the data, which I thought was curious, and I might have mentioned this before, is that at least one planet, although I think it is only one planet in each system. So this is the Sol system, or the Sun system here. And in here, one planet or moon has the same as Earth. Now, obviously, in the Sun, it is Earth. So it has basically iron, titanium, aluminium, carbon, copper, hydrogen, deuterium, and methane. Okay? None of the other planets and moons have that combo. They all have a sort of fragmented part of that, and then maybe some of the other more exotic resources over here. But what I noticed was every system has at least one planet, has exactly one planet or moon that mimics Earth's resources. So, for example, if we come into Proxima, Atlantic has iron, titanium, iron through to methane, we'll just call it. So Atlantic has that. Chiron has it here in Centauri. In Barnard, it's here, Mari. In Lalande, it's Nero. In Sirius, it's Romulus. Great name. In Cygni, it's this one, which is Chloros. Yeah, it's the only one in each one. In Procyon, it's Miocene. Yeah. and in, where are we, tau ceti, it's here, upsilon, and that's it. So that got me thinking, well, why don't we create a race of people for each of these systems? So basically we'll have the Tausetians, we'll have the Procyon, the Cygnets. I don't know. In fact, that's something maybe you can comment on. If you want to give each of these residents of each of these systems a name, like a race name, I think Syrians will work with it. Solutions. I don't know. Just names that, please non-offensive, but something that even comical. I don't mind, but that just fit in with the name of the system that they're in. So, I don't know. I'm sure you could come up with some funny ones if you have a think. I'm sure there'll be some. But anyway, the point being, when the person registers, part of the process of registering is they register, they validate their email probably or something, and then it says, right, now pick your race, and the race will determine which of these systems they start in. So they start in Proxima or Centauri or Earth, but then I was thinking, well, hang on a minute, if they start, say, in Proxima, where there's only 4 places to gather resources, they are at a bit of a disadvantage when it comes to perhaps having to build resources before they invent the SGS drive, which allows them to fly to other star systems. But I'm sure we can bias it somehow. Do you know? I'm thinking if somebody starts here and they're brave enough to start in Proxima, and they can only establish 4 orbital factories before they have to then think about getting an SDS drive and moving on. Well, let's reward that. Yeah, if that's the case, let's reward that. Let's give them something that promotes that or rewards the fact that they're prepared to start on that system with only 4 before having to venture out into other systems. So I thought I'm sure we can come to some decision on that. But the point being that they would choose which of these systems they start on. Now, for the purpose of this game, I think I'm just going to do each system is equidistant from each other system. So the amount of clicks it takes to get from anything in the Sun system to Proxima or Centauri or Barnard is the same as anything from Proxima to Barnard, from Proxima to Lalande, and so on. I just think it'd be easier to do that rather than... I think in the game, I can't remember if you can jump straight to each one, even at the end when you've got all the power-ups, all the latest designs. I think you have to go through a few. But anyway, I can't remember. But for the purpose of this, let's just make it equal distant. So that's what I'm thinking. Now that then sort of determines the user registration process, because not only do they just simply register, but they now get to choose which system do you want to start in. And that's what I'm thinking. So I've not seen anything in the comments to suggest a specific thing other than that. So yeah, please, I'm still open to suggestions on this, but I think we're going to go down that route for now and just see how it goes. Yeah, let's try it. If we have to backtrack. We'll just delete this episode and nobody need know. Okay, so let's see where we are at the minute. If we go to the website, let's go to our website. Okay, so we've got a typical Laravel sort of login page here. So if I go to register, let me just see what I've done with this. I vaguely remember just setting up a bare bones register page. Let's have up HTTP. Let me just quit my notifications there. Controllers, auth, and register controller. So am I doing anything fancy here? Inertia. Oh, that's right. Yeah, we got inertia. So we're loading up the auth register page using inertia. So just a refresher for anybody who hasn't watched the previous videos. Why not? No, just kidding. If you're just following along and picking up from here, we decided to use inertia as the sort of framework for Laravel to fit in. If you don't know, inertia is it's a means of getting data from the server to the client using JSON and then using view components on the front end, but still using all the good stuff Laravel provides, such as routing and authentication and stuff. So it's pretty cool. You know, it does take out a lot of the boilerplate code that you have to write yourself and manage. So that's what we're using, just as a reminder for everybody. So we're going to auth register in the pages auth register. So this is a view component. So yeah, as you can see, very basic. Where are we? There. Registration page, username, password confirmation email. Let you get on the standard blade, but we've not really applied much style to it. There's a little bit of tailwind going in there, but just enough to make it usable. And when we submit that form using the inertia post, it's sort of akin to Axios, but slightly different. We post that, and that should return a response. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. What it does is no, we're not overriding the register method. So let's see what it does. Let's have a go. I've already run the migration, so I think the database is already up, but there's no users in there. So let's have a go. Let's register and see what happens. So I've got it as username, but I suspect. Let me just check the. Oh yeah, I have. So username, not an email address. So we're registering with username. So this registration page needs to change slightly. So username is username. Oh no, it's fine. It's just it tried to put my email address in. Okay. So let's just put a test user password. Let's be adventurous and type the word password. Oh yeah, this is my email. So I'll put my Gmail address. And I tell you what, let's just bring up the inspector just in case. Register. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, so that's working. I vaguely remember we got this bit working, actually. I mean, it's many videos ago. Let's just check that again. Yeah. Okay, so it has. That's put us into the database. We'll forget the email verify for now. We might do that another time. I haven't really planned that for today, so we'll come back to that. So let's just assume we're set up and we go to our base. Now, this we could have this. Let's just go to images. So I'm thinking the base could be this page here. Do you remember this one? It was like you didn't do anything on this page. It was just like the holding page for the home page. So we could have this as a base page for the player. But bear in mind, we've just said that at this point the player as yet hasn't picked a race to be. So although they're loading the base, that's fine, but which planet, which system, which star system does this belong to? So what we could do, we could leave them on base, but what we could say is, if they haven't yet picked a race, what's presented on base is different until they pick a race. So that being said, we're probably going to have to modify the user table to accommodate which race they are. Let's just have a look at the migrations. Yeah, so we've nothing in there at the minute. So what we can do, let's go after remember token, table we'll put an integer in there and we'll go race ID. So what we're going to do is create this as a related data table, and that's because we said a minute ago that some races will have an advantage or maybe be penalised depending on the circumstances, just to balance it out. Well, if we put that in a race table, then each race's advantage and disadvantage could be somehow set in a data way, so that can be adjusted easily. Do we do that, or do we put it in a config file? That's not something that's going to change, is it? I'm wondering whether maybe that needs to go into a config file. Okay, it seems I could do a combination of both here. Maybe a config file and a data table that will sort of add in-game bonuses that a race has got. Maybe if all members of a race occupy a system, then there's a bonus applied, and that could be stored in a data table for the game for the time being. However, there's something I've missed that I don't know if I want to include it right now, but it is something that should go before the race selection if we're going to implement it. I'm not going to implement it now, but I may implement it in a future video. And what that is, it's if we have multiple games running. So if you remember in BSGO, you registered your user, but then on one system, like Caprica, or Capricorn, whatever it was, you could be a Cylon, but then on, say, the Gemini server, you could be a human under your same login. So that means that your user is your user, but the race is not stored against the user because it depends on which server you're on. So what I'm going to leave that for now because that's going to take a bit of prep. But in case you're thinking about that, we will probably come back to that at some point. The other option is, of course, just to have completely standalone logins for each server, not associated. That's the other way of doing it, which means we don't have to implement it here. But I will have a think about that. Anyway, let's carry on forward with what we're doing. So what I'm thinking is, if in the config file, let's go to the bottom. Oh, bodies. Right, okay, that's cool. I think that tells me that's bodies. So that'll be C there. Okay, so that's cool. So we can go, yeah, when you think you've finished with the seeding and you're back in there. Great. So let's go into races. And let's see, let's go slug. No, we do name first, don't we? Name. We'll go humans. Slug. Humans. Okay. So let's just put start on planet. So start. So we want the slug of we want the slug of Earth. We know that's Earth, don't we? For humans. So that's fine. So let's stick another one in here. Okay, so let's go back to our reference site. So the next one is Proxima and Atlantic. We could do with putting system as well. I'll check that in a second. So in this one, we're going to have Proximans. Proximans. Let's go with that for now. Proximans. So obviously the system is going to be Proxima. and the, what did we say, Atlantic? Okay. So the idea being that if each star planet has the same set of resources, then everybody starts getting the same stuff. Derricks, orbital factories, supply pods, and they're all made with the same stuff. We don't have to sort of reinvent recipes for different races. You know, maybe that's a future mod. I don't know, a different game maybe. But for now, they all use the same ones. So there's two races there. So let's go into our seeder table. Okay, so recipes, bodies. Oh, we need to create a race table, don't we? So let's do PHP artisan make model minus m race. And there we have our race table. ID. Table string name. We'll put the slug in there as well. We want the, now I am going to put the ID as opposed to the slug, just so that I can keep data references more the way we would have them. So we'd have system ID, and actually we can't put planet because it might be a moon. So what we'll do is start ID, and then what we have to do here, oh no, not here, it's in the relationships, isn't it? So these are foreign keys, and yeah, they have to be populated, so we can do that in the seeder. So let's go back to the seeder. So let's just copy this line here to get from the config file. So races equals collect deuteros seeder races. Okay. So races each function. Okay. So we loop over our races. Let's have a look at the seeder file again. Name, slug, system, and start. So let's get the system. Do we need to put the system in? We'll get that from the planet, won't we? So what we can do, let's get rid of that. Don't need that. And so we need, let's see. Oop. Start equals body where slug. Now it's race slug, so that's what we've just put in the seeder. First we'll put some try or fails on this at some point, but because it's in the seeder database, yep, this is all going to happen before the game goes live, so it doesn't matter. Then we can just create a new race. Create name is race race name. Slug is race slug. I've just realised a mistake I've made. It's not race slug here, is it? It's race. It's race start. To get the body, yeah. Name, slug, and then start. Start ID, I think it was in the migration, equals start ID, which we've just got here. Great, I think that'll do. That should just create the two races for us. Let's do a PHP artisan it's going to wipe out our user, isn't it? But we'll just do that again. So let's check the database. Yeah, so we lose the user, but oh, where's my race table? Oh, yeah, I always have to do this. PHP artisan config cache. Let's try that. This is normally where it breaks, and it does. Excellent. Trying to get property start of non-object. So race is not an object. Now I suspect the easiest fix for this is just to treat it as an array. But then that means we'll have to do the same for these two here as well. I could convert it to an object, but you know what, I can't be bothered. Okay, I think that'll do that. Database, I didn't namespace it, did I? So let's just import it. Now, PHP Storm does that automatically. If you're not using PHP Storm, all it's done is just put this use app models race up at the top of the seeder file here, the database seeder file. Okay, let's try this again now. There we go. So that's good. So if we go to our database, and there we are. Humans and Proximans. Start ID 4 and 44. And if we go to the bodies, 4 is Earth and 44 is Atlantic, which is what we want. Atlantic was the one with that mimics Earth's resources. That's fine. So off video, I'll fill the rest of those in. So don't worry about that. Let's just leave them two for now. Okay, let's leave it there for this video because I just want to sort of do this in bite-sized chunks, and we're on about, what, half an hour now before cut. So yeah, let's leave it there. We'll finish this video here, but now we'll go on straight on to the next video, and yeah, and we'll carry on this process of the user registration and the picking of a race and see where we go from there. So as always, thanks for watching. Please like if this video was interesting for you. To be honest, again, it's just a seeder video, so as much as I appreciate you putting the like on there, it would be a strange reason why you'd like it. But if you want to subscribe, that'd be great. That would really help, and you know, we're starting to get a bit more momentum with the subscribers now. And comments, as I say every video, please comment. This game, I wanted people to contribute to it, as in perhaps say the name of the races, or maybe the penalties or rewards of certain races because of their starting positions. Please put them in the comments so that I can have a look at them and maybe integrate them into the game as we go along. But for now, thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.